Hey, what's going on, guys? This is John from PDC Podcast MX, also known as Pacto de Caballeros Podcast. We're here on a Tuesday. It's a three-man show today. I have Rafa and Judy, the two Chiva hermanos. Say what's up, guys.
So what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm sad to hear Danny won't be with us today, but you know,
He's grounded.
híjole, no empieces, dude.
and it starts, as tradition. What did you guys do this weekend?
Uh, I catched a couple of fights on Saturday. I don't know if any of you watched it, but we had two Mexican guys go at it, and it was a pretty good match. And then also UFC. There was the Blades and Derek Lewis, also a good match. I don't know if
Mhm.
any of you watched some of them. I know
Uh, I
Rafa.
ha- yeah, I happened to see the highlights of both of them. Actually went out to dinner on Saturday. I went out to this nice restaurant, and it was pretty dope. Uh, Besides that, pretty chill weekend, man.
Nice. Yeah, man, same here. I had to work on Saturday, so it was kind of weird because I was off Friday, Saturday, go back to work, Sunday, just spend time with the kids because my wife had to work. But other than that, man, it's just pretty much catching up on soccer on all the games. Madrid beat Villarreal, so that's a good way to go into Champions tomorrow or today when you guys hear it. So hopefully they do good. But other than that, man, I'm ready to go if you guys are.
Yeah.
So
Let's do it.
the first game was between Santos and Atletico de San Luis in a 1-0 win for Santos. A little controversial because after the game, declararon unas cosas that you can't tolerate in the soccer world. I know I posted about it in the page, and that's something that you can do. But that aside, I know I respect if you guys don't want to speak on that. That aside, 1-0 win for San Luis, man, with two red cards. What did you guys think? Nicolas Ibanez of another goal.
Uh, well, to start off, I think that the game it didn't show a lot of soccer. It's very chippy, not a lot of great passes, not a lot of good sequences of soccer throughout. But like you said, Ibanez scores again, and he's a beast in the air. You give him a little space, a little sliver, and he headed it home.
Yeah, it was a nice little cross and to score it in. Julie, what do you think about the game?
I mean, another good performance by Axel Werner. He's putting in a pretty good season. At least for me. Other than that, like you guys said, not much to really talk about on the game. Other than Nico Ibanez, pretty much. I guess you could say one of the highlights of Necaxa this season. I mean
Yeah,
Necaxa,
San Luis.
San Luis. Yeah, my bad. And other than that, Acevedo. I think this is the first time I really see him not play as well as we're used to seeing him. I don't know
Hmm.
how you guys saw him.
In what way, Julie? Explain yourself.
Usually, how do you say?
Because
He, he
Acevedo, last week was a little iffy, a little
mhm.
shaky to say against Atlas. So
Mhm.
maybe there's something going on right there.
I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty much on the same page as you. It's kind of weird to explain it, but like when the season first started, I saw him with more confidence and like little like you said last week, that confidence just seemed a little less, and then this week was a little less for me. But it's just something that I'm seeing, but I don't necessarily know if you could tell like in his face or by how he's playing.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, dale, Rafa. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, as far as Acevedo, I mean, he's he's given us some good performances in the past with some great saves. I think, you know, unfortunately, no one's perfect, and it was about time he he didn't give a great performance. But where I wanted to mention was just the fact that this game was very chippy, and there was a
Hmm.
lot of fouls throughout the game, and it got to the point where Almada, the coach, he was getting mad at the ref because they weren't calling calls, and apparently to him, they never any whenever that refs their game, it doesn't go their way, and it just started heating up little by little, and
Yeah,
it got to the point where I don't know if you guys know this, but Felix Torres, the player that he apparently
Got a red card.
got a red card and apparently was subject to racial abuse. It all started with him pushing a ball boy because
yeah,
he was trying to hurry up the game or whatever, and he happened to push a ball boy, and that's when all the San Luis players got on him, and that's how the huge scuffle started at I think the minute 81.
hmm,
And
hmm,
after that, tensions rise, and then maybe someone said something they shouldn't have, and yeah, I think Felix Torres took offense to it, and I'll just
yeah,
mention that there's no place for whatever was said. I don't know what was said, but it's not cool, not in this day and age.
yeah. No, man. Especially like you said, in this day and age where the league is so diverse with different cultures. You have Akaloa, you have a lot of players from uh, you know that are, I don't want to say sensitive, but
Well,
that, like you said, there's no place for this here, and it's just like, why, man? We're all grown, man. We all los rayamos la mamá en veces, or we'll say something, but once you get racial, man, it's there's no place for this. You know, I don't know
Well,
how you
I
feel,
mean,
Julie.
I think
no,
the only
oh, oh,
defense, well, before I hear you, I just want to say, like, as far as calling people by their shade to color or whatever, I think it has something to do with the way our culture is and the
Hmm.
way it's not right. I'm not saying it's right at all, but it's just how even in whatever country that has darker skinned people, that's just the way that they talk to each other. Some people take offense to it, some don't. I know in this country, in the US, they do, but I don't know. I mean, if it's so controversial, just don't even say it at all. You know,
Yeah,
how they say, if you have nothing good to say, don't say it at all.
yeah, no. The
yeah.
only thing, like, it's a very touchy subject, and like the only thing I will say is that our league has always had great diversity. From the beginning. You know, we could go back years, and we always have a diversity of players. America has some great African players.
Hmm.
Canabic. We could go with the Brazilians. We could go from pretty much everywhere in the world.
Chucho
Yeah,
Benitez.
Benitez. And like, yeah, there's no place for that, and like, like it would just become a whole different show if we get to it. And just long story short, it's a touchy subject. There's no place for it, and
And it's an unfortunate situation, man. Nobody should be put in that. It's yeah, like I said, it's unfortunate. Hopefully we can learn from this as a society, as the league. So like, and the players, just for the simple fact, man, that like Rafa said, I said, Juby, you said, there's no place for this. I think Danny stands in the same area where it's like, come on, man, this is not what we got into the love of this sport, right? This is why this
yeah,
sport's the world sport, and all cultures love soccer. So at the end of the day, yeah, San Luis takes the win, but those 3 points se van manchados in my eyes. So
yeah.
yeah, moving on. Monterrey versus Necaxa in a 1-1 tie con goles de, if I'm not mistaken, Maxi Mesa, right, Julie? Maxi Mesa and, sorry guys,
Barragan.
Barragan. So yeah, 1-1. Vasco Aguirre, eh, I don't remember if Monterrey has scored more than one goal in their games. right, Juby?
Uh, if I can't
Yeah,
remember, but yeah, I think yeah, they up until this point, yeah, I think it's only been one.
yeah, and
Um,
you know, to me, it was a pretty boring game. It wasn't nothing exciting, you know. Other than that, so far, how would you rate Vasco Aguirre's uh tenure in Monterrey?
Rafa, I don't know if you want to touch on this or
Yeah, I think Monterrey, I think in this game they got their goal and then they sat back. It's something that we know that Vasco Aguirre is gonna do, no
yeah,
doubt.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
unfortunately, he sat back a little bit too much, and then it came to a play where they scored on him, and they didn't have enough time to score again.
yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
and from a player that hasn't scored much, it's funny because like I was hearing some of the commentators literally before he scored, Barragan, they were saying like Barragan is the best forward you're gonna get that does not score. And he had a few plays where he came close, but he didn't finish. And then as soon as he got done saying something like that, that's when the goal falls. And earlier on in his career, he was he would put him away, but something happened. But I'm just happy, that he was finally able to score again. Uh, and it sucks, the Necaxa had a couple of injuries, with the portero and uh, getting injured. So hopefully they're okay. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about them, but the guy that came in is Mercado, and uh, I like him. I think he's fast. He caused este Monterrey a little bit of trouble, but um, I don't know if you guys have heard anything on those injuries.
Well, I think
no,
I was just gonna say I think it's nice to see Mercado back. I remember seeing him when your coach was there. What's his name?
Memo.
Memo Vasquez, and he would come off the bench and he was a super sub. But I haven't heard anything. Have you, John?
no, I haven't heard nothing from that. But yeah, other than that, a 1-1 tie, and nothing excited to really talk about this game. Estaba un poquito flojo el partido. But
Yeah,
yeah,
But
yeah.
but that's
Well,
Vasco Aguirre
that's
style right there.
yeah. I mean, as long as he gets the point, it's a nice point. But with the caliber of the squad, they should get W's all the time.
yeah. Do you think that la afición le tiene que exigir más, or just
Again,
because of Al Vasco, just because there's a large investment in that team? They got three deadly forwards that in any other team they would be all starters. Akeloba, Funes Mori, and Jensen.
well,
So
I don't think they're that far off. I mean, they're sitting in sixth place, uh, with 6 games. So with another win, to catch up to everybody, they could go as high as third. I don't
yeah,
think
but
they're terrible. I think, like you said, Funes Mori and Vincent Johnson hasn't played. I think Johnson's still hurt, and
Yeah.
Funes Mori was on the bench, and they started Alvarado.
yeah,
Yeah.
dale, Julie.
But I don't think they need to. I think Vasco Aguirre is on the same boat as like Tuca when it comes to games. Like it doesn't matter where they end up. You just know that once, and usually there's no liguillas, but once you get into liguilla, which the Mexican league has, they're scary. Just like Tuca, it doesn't matter where he ends up. Once he gets into liguilla, it's a whole different team that comes up, and they, like Rafa was saying, they get points. So, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how they got there. It's once they get there, like how far will they go? And that's what's scary when it comes to a guy like Vasco Aguirre, because we know that he could plan out a game and pretty much come home with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and now if they start losing, like if they get like 2 losses in a row, or loss and lost, tie, loss, then maybe we talk about it. But now it's not terrible, not yet.
yeah. And moving on to the next game, guys. This was a little bit of controversy. I think controversy heard around the world in the Cruz Azul versus Toluca game because Toluca actually was playing with like 12 men on the field for some reason at one point. You know, they were playing with the
Well,
line. They were playing with
let,
the. Yeah,
let's
let,
start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning before we move ahead, because
uh, uh,
there was some stuff that happened before that it was like, all right, cool.
all right, dale, Juby, explain it.
No, I was just gonna say like pretty much the first 15, or I want to say the first half of the first half, it was all Cruz Azul.
Yeah,
They pretty much they dismantled that defense that Toluca was pretty much Torres Nilo and Brasheri. Like
Machete.
that's how you gotta say it. Brasheri. Uh, they've been pretty solid. And Cruz Azul was just pretty much moving the ball side to side and catching them off guard with Cabecita making the first goal, and then
Yeah, in the
Did you
sixth
second
guys
minute.
goal.
did you guys see how Orbelin missed within 2 minutes though? Like right in front of the
Yes,
porteria.
yeah.
And
But
then
I mean,
I
like
think Mike
that
I think Michael Estrada missed one too at the 22nd, after I think they were up 1-0. Cruz Azul was up 1-0, like you said already.
Yeah,
yeah, and then the second goal was pretty much un centro. Este Alvarado pretty much hit it with his knee, the side of his knee. Got lucky, went in.
But he
yeah,
got it
But
on
then
he got it
yeah. But
on
that was
red.
a that was a nice play, man. Just a cross to find Alvarado up there.
Yeah.
yeah,
Y,
and it's
y,
pretty
le, y,
rare.
le, y le pegó mal. Si le pega bien, no la mete.
Well, I think that's the funny part, that like he hit it wrong and it went in. So like who knows what would have happened, but it's very difficult, like we were saying, like to catch a guy like Torres Nilo, you know, uh, the way they did, so. But then eventually Toluca recuperated and pretty
It,
much.
speaking on Torres Nilo, man, coming to Toluca and Cristante putting him in the center back position where he's always been a left back his whole career from Atlas to Tigres. Would you guys rate him? Because I think he's doing a pretty solid job, and with all honesty, I think that working under Tuca that that helps him that helped him a lot because over here he's more diverse when it's like he's been a center back his whole career.
I think at Tigres he played a little bit of center back towards the end, to get some couple minutes here and there. I think his transition has been good. I don't think it's been the best. That he some of the goals he's conceded a little bit like in the air. But it hasn't been terrible.
So now, with that said, what do you guys think of the ref interfering Salud in in the play where one they hit the pole, right? Pega poste y luego en el rebote to the al remate, the ref doesn't interfere saying purposely, but he's
He
running that
tries.
way. And
Mhm.
he's trying to get out of the way of the play. How do you guys feel about that?
Well,
Because
here
yeah,
here's
Well,
my here's my question. What's he doing up so high in the first place? Then after that you can
well,
ask whatever, but why is he all the
so
way up?
so I don't remember exactly what happened, but when the ball hits poste, if I remember correctly, we have a player that falls
yeah,
because
in the area.
the portero. I might be remembering the wrong play, but if I remember correctly, ¿cómo se llama? Luis Garcia sale, misses, the ball continues, right? His poste, and for some reason I remember seeing like a guy on the floor, and the ref was walking like towards that,
No,
and then oh, or am I wrong?
no, it's like the ref was running inside, like he was making a full fast jog into the area, and
Into the area.
like you said, Luis Garcia passed. He couldn't make the save, and Luis Romo, hit it off the post, and they just went back towards the penalty spot, and I think that's why. Uh, I don't know. I think the ref thought that it was gonna hit out, and it was gonna continue, and he was gonna call, corner kick or whatever. but it just happened to come back to where he was, and then I forgot who shoots it. I think it's Cabecita, and
Yeah,
it hits
it
him.
was Cabecita. Well, my question is this: so in the old rules, the ref was part of the field, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
So I know recently, they changed some of the. I don't know how recent, but they changed the rule to where like if the ball hits the ref, he should stop it and continue play. You know, to whoever had possession.
Correct, correct.
But in this instance, like in this instance, like what do you do?
Uh,
mm,
Like
I was thinking. Well, I was thinking like if it hits him, shouldn't they give it back to the other team?
yeah,
yeah,
but then
that
like
that's the right
Faster.
thing
that
to
becomes
do.
yes, but the hard part is
Look,
was Cabecita gonna score? Because I know
oh
everyone
no,
in the whole world.
Cabecita was gonna score. That granted, the defensa se resbaló almost inside of the porteria, but
Mhm.
that's the big what if. Like, one my problem is the ref shouldn't be so high in the area. When do you ever see a ref going? All the refs that I see, they're Sunday league. Granted, están casi a medio campo on the other side of the porteria, but
That's because they can't run.
And
but
they still call offsides, and they
Like I
ay,
saw
and
it, I saw it.
sí,
No,
hey,
I get you though.
cállese,
I get you.
cállese, usted no diga nada, no vio lo que yo vi. But that's one thing that used to get me heated. But yeah,
Yeah,
man, I think Cabecita was gonna score.
maybe.
It wasn't a power shot, but uh, controversial, yeah. But as Juby, would you argue it as a player, or Rafa, you that you still play? Would you argue it so hard like they did?
Semi-retired. I'm all pretty much retired.
It's
But
quarantine
yeah, I
got us,
mean,
huh?
yeah, you would complain it because what's the ref doing up so high? He's not supposed to be even in the play. He's supposed
Yeah,
to be outside
yeah,
the box, in my opinion. But I mean, I was thinking about it too. Like, how do you actually fix it? Do you give it back to the team? Do you give them like a indirect free kick, or you just give them, bounce it on the floor, let them take
yeah.
it back, or what?
it,
Uh, I don't
el,
know.
el, el problema es que you're not gonna get the goal one way or the other. It's
Yeah,
not gonna be like, hey,
it shouldn't be
but
a clear cut like penalty chance.
Yeah,
yeah,
like and I think that's where this is one of those plays. Just like we always talk about like handball situations. You know, like what is the right call? Because the rule is so great. Before it was a little bit easier, where like the ref was part of the field. So if the ball hits him, continue. You know, but then when they switched it over to the if the ball hits the ref, stop the play, give the ball back to the team that had possession, blah blah blah. So like in this instance, I don't think they ever thought about like something like this happening. But like, what do you do? Because if you give Cabecita the goal, it's not working out for Toluca,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah,
But then if you're a Cruz Azul fan or if you're Cabecita, you want the goal,
right. So
no matter what.
Especially after what happened a few minutes after,
yeah,
where
so
Toluca
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
and ties it real quick.
that's where I was going, man. That literally a minute or two later, um, Juby's boy in the 43rd minute, Brachetti, they put a cross into the area, and this dude slides out of nowhere, man. This
Mhm.
guy's a defender, and he slides to get the ball, and a beautiful play by a defender, man. You really don't never see them do that, besides like a Romo or
yeah.
a younger
Which,
Alanis. And to me, it was a golazo, man, just because
which,
the way this
which
guy
to this
contacted the
like,
ball.
and this kind of brings up like a question that I wanted to ask. So the two goals, at least for me, had to do with that same side of the field for Toluca.
Mhm.
Uh, is there an issue with Cruz Azul on that side of the field? Because that first goal came from that side, and then the second, which was uh, ¿quién metió el gol?
Canelo.
Canelo, yeah, Canelo of a penalty, right?
Yeah. Well,
Este,
even if we go back to the play that I mentioned, Estrada, where he
Mhm.
missed inexplicably. It also came back from the left side.
From that same, uh-huh.
I think it was the left
So
back
so
that crossed it from that side, and yeah, Estrada botched it.
yeah, and then the goal, that first goal came from that left side, and your defensa puts it in, Rashedi, and then the penalty se lo llevó a Escobar from that left side again.
Mhm.
And I mean, and Escobar is the one that I know it's a controversial penalty, a lot
I
for
think
Cruz Azul fans.
no. It was a soft. Come on, dude. It was the dude
Nah,
dives. No, Jude. That dude dives
But I've
afterwards.
seen softer though.
No,
I've seen way
yeah,
softer.
there's way softer. But the dude dives. Que se la vendió bien al árbitro, se la vendió bien. But for Juby to say controversial, yeah, it is controversial, man, because the dude's diving. Like you can clearly tell, and I'm not even at bar. Son seis güeyes que se las vendió a todas bien bonita.
Oh, we'll talk about uh simulating a PK in the next game. This
no,
one
well,
was all right.
I mean, to me, like ya se lo había llevado. Honestly, Escobar, like, yeah, you could say it's soft, but he did commit the foul
Yeah.
in my eyes. So
Okay.
the penalty was okay in my eyes. Now, would it take a lot more to drop somebody? Of course.
Would you have
You
called it?
know, me
Yeah. Would you have
honestly,
called it?
I'm still in the no blood, no foul type era. So
So you wouldn't have called it?
not really.
Yeah.
You know,
So yeah,
I'm your
but it's
generation.
a
I would have
different.
called
but
it.
but
I don't
see
care.
at that point it's a 2-2 game. It's a 2-2 game, and that's where it gets controversial because what if Cabecita would have scored it? You know
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
I
that's
mean, at the
that's
end,
that's
at the end,
that's where the problem lies. And like you said, it was around. It was heard around the world because I was talking to Danny earlier today, and I was telling him, I'm like, ESPN FC on their Instagram also posted it. And shout out to ESPN Deportes and ESPN Plus because they were showing them on there. They were showing Liga MX games, man, with good commentary. Big shout out to them all weekend long. So,
Hmm.
but besides the point, ESPN FC posts up the arbitro, interfering in the play, and then ESPN FC UK goes, Liverpool's looking for a defender. So so
They need more. They need more than a couple.
a Rafita háblenle de Man City.
Yeah, I mean, I like everything Premier League, but yeah, I like to talk shit about the other team.
Yeah, and no, y deja de eso, that the reason why I bring it up, man, is that that puts eyes into Liga MX from all the
Yeah.
way from the other side of the pond to here, right? It's putting eyes, even if it's a little controversial play that everybody's, but it's talk, man. It's talk about Liga MX, and that's what we want, man. Ultimately, um, we all want Liga MX to grow and to become something big where big teams are looking over here. But
yeah,
other than that, great pass from Orbelin Pineda for
golazo.
yeah for the third goal. You
Paul
know,
Fernandez, man.
Yeah.
al que no querían, with all honesty, that he came back because they were asking for a high wage or they didn't want to buy him. Danny knows all of that stuff. But yeah, 3-2
Pero,
win.
pero ahora sí lo quieren.
Oh yeah,
He made a golazo. Karate Kid style.
it,
Yeah.
it's funny because no los quieren hasta que meten los goles. Pregúntale a Juby with Puligol.
Oh no, I still don't like him.
Yeah, but
Eh,
you were yelling those goals, right?
No, well, I
mhm.
mean, so, look, my
You
issue
see the
with him
stutter?
is that
You see the stutter?
no, like my issue with him has always been, like, in my eyes, he's never been like a true nine. That's what it is. I always seen him as a winger. That's me. That's me. I feel like he does more damage like that. And yeah, he scores, but I see him as a winger. Like more. I see him like more play more like what Chucky Lozano could do. Like that's what I imagine myself seeing Pulido.
Hey,
But
I'll take
you
him.
know,
I'll
they.
take him. I'll take him wherever you want to put him, Julie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll put him on the wing, just not as a 9. For me, you know, that's it.
Donde tú quieras,
And
Julie.
John doesn't like that.
Con que
So
meta goles.
from one controversial game or play from a team from the capital to another, we go into Atlas America.
Oh, can I
With
say something before we start?
dale, 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 dale.
All right. So before we start, the 24th is Dia de la Bandera in Mexico. America's jerseys, and before the games, you were hearing the himno nacional, just in case people were wondering. But the jerseys, I don't know what you guys thought about it, but if we remove the escudo from the jerseys, did you guys get to see how they look?
No.
No, Rafa, did you get to see it?
No.
No. Oh, I was gonna ask what you guys thought about them, but just in case people were wondering.
No. So
Dia de la Bandera, Mexico,
okay,
24th.
okay. So Julie asked us the question, so now I reverse that question and ask you what you think about it.
If we remove
Hold on,
the escudo,
hold on, and choose your words wisely, my brother, because I'm gonna drill you with the wrong answer.
if we remove the escudo from the jersey, it's okay. And that's as far as I'm gonna take it. Just because it's the enemy. That's it.
So you remove the scooter or the scooter? No, I know it's in America, and I know it's gonna sound controversial because I know we got one of our boys from New York, JM. Shout out to JM. Still an ugly shirt, bro. I don't care with the scooter or without it. So
I mean, it goes a little further than just the team. It's for a country. That's my issue. So I'm like stuck in between. Like I love Mexico, but then I don't like America.
Wait, so explain it to me, and then maybe some people that don't understand, like, well, what do you mean the escudo? Or what do you mean like the badge of the team?
So they were wearing a jersey, for this game. Their uniform was all white. The jersey in the middle, had some symbols, to kind of signify, what was going on. But then I know if I say that I was a fan of the shirt because of the team that's wearing it and the team I go for, that's where we get into some issues, but we removed the escudo from it. If you guys look at it without the America badge on it, I would like to know what you guys think about it.
I already told you.
I mean, the jersey itself.
Yeah.
Honestly, like without the badge, it's a nice, decent looking jersey. Would I ever buy it now that I know, what badge is on it? No. But yeah, to each their own.
But that's the same boat I'm in. Like you remove the badge, different story. But
Yeah,
that's the issue. But yeah, I mean, moving on, I guess, to the bigger controversial part.
Okay, so originally this game ended in a 2-0 win for America, with Atlas playing with a man down in the 25th minute. I don't know how you guys saw that play. I don't know if you guys saw the game.
But yeah, it was Angulo.
Merecida.
He was reckless. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was really
Got him under the tobillo. Who was it? Aquino, right? I think.
Aquino, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a dangerous play, but Angulo, if I'm not mistaken, was the one that got the red, right?
Yeah.
Right. In Santos, he's known to play like that. Right?
Yeah, it's just
unfortunately,
I think.
Yeah.
The ball got away from him, and you just try to make a play on it. And
yeah, a little too late, a little too dangerous. Like there's smart fouls. Like I know John's not gonna like this, but there's a guy named Reynoso who for years made a living committing certain fouls and got away with them.
Professional foul.
Yeah, you got to be smart on when or how you commit the foul. And I think Angulo is one of those players. Mosso is one of those players that still need to learn. Every now and then we used to get mad at Michael Perez. He was one of those players too. Pato Araujo, the list goes on. Like you got to be smart on how you commit the foul. and Angulo is one of those players that yeah, he's known for that, but you're leaving your team. To begin with, I didn't feel like Atlas had a chance, but you leave them in a worse spot than they were already.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So right before the penalty was awarded, you can so America scores with a penalty in a little trick play to say, right? In
Well, that
the
play was
third
controversial too.
see, well, now Henry Martin steps on the defender's foot
Hmm.
and he sells it, right? And
Mhm.
and they award it, they go to VAR and they still call it. Like
But
Mhm.
how would you call that?
I wouldn't call it a foul.
Porque
I would
the player does slide.
he does, pero va la intención del balón. Henry Martin
Mhm. Steps on him.
puts it a little puts the ball forward. He steps on the player and then he falls down,
Pause. Hmm.
right? So that's not a PK in my book. They go to VAR and they still call it a PK, right? And then they go and they do that little trick play. You know,
Estilo Johan Cruyff.
so I'm not a fan of trick plays like that, but I'm not a fan of a ref fucking being blind and calling that. So it's I don't know your
I,
thoughts.
I'll give him credit on the PK. I think it was clever. You know, I don't like it just because I'm always looking at it to see whether it was legal or not. Like if someone stepped over the line before it was kicked. And I kept looking at it and it looked like it was fair, so I'll give him credit. But as far
Yeah.
as the PK call, yeah, I don't think it was like you guys said. I think Henry Martin steps on Brighton Vasquez's ankle, and you can clearly see it in the VAR. So I don't know why it wasn't overturned.
Yeah. Um. No comment on why it wasn't overturned.
Well,
But
I hear I might have heard some false information, but I hear like maybe like in March or something like that, maybe April, they're putting together like a compilation of plays that they're gonna look at to see what they could fix in the VAR. I don't know if you guys heard
now,
anything.
who's your source on this?
They were just saying it in like games that I was watching, so I just wanted to see if you guys had heard anything, what's going on.
No.
I mean, it'd be nice if they get a little meeting and start looking at all the plays that they messed up on or was a little controversial or whatever, just so they can, you know, it's not always going to be good, but if they can narrow it down to be better, I think that's something they could do.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
Then you want to get to the real scandal.
But right before we get into the scandal, in the 93rd minute, America takes a 2-0 lead, and after that they take the win 2-0. With that, Juby, explain to the people the scandal.
Uh, well, it wasn't a scandal till after. Apparently, there's a player in America that wasn't on the list that ends up
That wasn't registered.
yeah, that wasn't registered. Federico Viñas. So Atlas goes, I guess, to the commission. Este makes up a big scenario that because this player appeared on the list, they had to change their their plans
Just
for the game. Blah blah blah.
the strategy.
The strategy of the game, which the league ends up rewarding Atlas with the victory. I get what 3-0. That's the automatic
Hmm.
Yeah.
score. So now the controversial issue is, can one
Yeah,
player really?
it's a forfeit. Don't give me your opinion.
Mhm.
Just let them know what happened.
Oh yeah, well
Because
I mean like that's
you're getting into your opinion already.
no, I mean like it's a forfeit. But my question is like, is it a valid argument for Atlas to say like, hey, this player that didn't show up now shows up? It changed our strategy to the point where like, hey, our
Hmm.
2-0 loss should not be valid.
Well,
What's your guys' take on it?
from what I hear, Viñas was ineligible for the whole game entirely.
Hmm.
The
Mhm.
fact that he was there and he was in his gear, like he was gonna come in at some point. And there was a picture that I saw that he was sitting near the substitutes or whatever. Uh, Unfortunately, those are the rules. Like if it was against my team, I'd be like, man, come on, let it slide. Things happen, people forget, whatever.
Yeah.
But I from what it sounds like, Atlas really, put their foot down and made an escándalo. And
But but but
if that's the only way they get 3 points, hey, let it be.
so you right. All three of us are Chivas hermanos, and as I'm hosting today, the great honor that Danny gave me. Um, I can't be biased, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like you're not supposed to be there. A world class coach like Solari, if he knows that the player's not registered, then sit up. It's an empty stadium. You can be closed, man. You
Hey,
know.
but maybe it wasn't Solari. Maybe it was somebody else. We don't know. The thing was that he was named there, and technically he shouldn't have been.
Yeah, and you're right. So with that, do they deserve to win? Do they deserve to lose the 3 points? Reglamento is reglamento, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
you 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 really can't argue it. So with
But
that,
like I said, man, like if it was our team, we'd be we'd be like, nah, that's bullshit, whatever. But that's just how it
yeah.
is.
Moving on to the early game on Sunday. Those beautiful early games where you can eat your bowl of cereal and
Menudo.
you know your menudo or curarte la cruda.
Yeah.
Pumas, like how Rafa right away was like, damn, that's right.
Uh,
Uh,
Memories.
Not good ones.
in a 1-0 win over Pumas, Leon takes the victory. Um, props to Leon. Angel Mena in the 68th minute scores the goal. Juby, Rafa, what are your thoughts on this game?
I think it was another, uh, you know, Pumas just without Dineno and without Carlos Gonzalez that left last season, they just haven't been able to score or provide
Mhm.
any sort of offense going forward. I think Big One's their biggest chance of scoring. And we saw last week where the goal was taken away from him. And this week I think he got close again, but I think Leon just far better team overall at this
Yeah,
point.
Leon is a piece of a team, and the machine doesn't stop. You can take some players out, but the consistency, the play that Nacho Ambriz brings into the team with his tactics, it's amazing. I know I know I'm more of the hablador of the podcast. Digo lo que sale. But props to them, man, because it's been 2.5 years that they've been doing this, and there's no stopping. It's the it's like a team that plays in the Camp now a few years back that that machine never stopped. They just put players and they just
Yeah,
fall perfectly into that system.
and they've been underperforming, and
Oh yeah, for
um,
sure.
this season, and I feel like, I know one of the things we probably are gonna touch on is it's Kota, being back,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. That's
and they
thank you for
win,
bringing that up.
and they win. So I don't know if it's me. I don't know if I'm just speculating, but when Kota wasn't playing, they weren't performing as well. I think they
Hmm.
had 2 losses in a row before this. Chivas, I don't remember the other one, and then
Tijuana.
before that, and before that, they had a 3-0 win, and
Hmm.
then from that, I don't remember really seeing much of them up until now, and we still haven't seen much. Like I feel like this game, I think is basically like waking up the sleeping giant, and now that they have Cota back in there, I feel like teams better watch out because we seen what they could do, and they could do some damage.
Yeah, and you know what? You missed that confidence in the porteria, man. A leader like Cota. I know we touched bases on this last week, and we got into a pretty good debate if Cota would start at any other team in the Liga MX, but you can clearly see that Cota was needed in the porteria.
Yeah, because no disrespect to Poncho, Poncho Blanco has had some solid years in Pachuca, but he's definitely not Cota.
No, no, absolutely not, man. Cota is it's one of the most consistent goalies that we've had in recent years, and you know, up to him, man. It's good to see him out to see, it's nice to see him out in the field. But moving on to the next game is Querétaro versus Puebla in a 1-1 tie. Joe Gallardo in the 84th minute scores uh, a rifle into the goal, man, un golazo. Up to that, it was a pretty loose game. It was both teams were
On a deadlock.
semi-defensive. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but ese derechazo de Joe Gallardo, man, it's some power, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
este,
interesting come up from Joe Gallardo. I think he played a lot of his soccer out here in the States,
Yeah.
and then he's playing now for Querétaro. So yeah, it was a hell of a goal.
Yeah,
yeah, and
and
another good solid performance from the porteros. Let's give the porteros love.
yeah, yeah, it was. In the towards the end of the game, in the 90th minute, if I'm not mistaken, man, there was a PK, another PK, which ese se mira más penal que los que hemos visto in my eyes.
Yeah,
You,
but
you see the
still a
defender
little
drag.
it's still a
Go
little
ahead,
controversial.
how so?
So yeah, the I don't remember who exactly was the guy, but the defender, like, he gets hooked, and then you see the attacker kind of like turn,
Hmm.
and the defender's falling, and he does pull him, but like, whose fault is it? The attacker that kind of like hooks him, or the defender that when he feels that he's falling, he pulls him with him?
What?
Well, I think, as a forward, you get touched in the area at this point in age, it's gonna be a PK. And because he was dragged down and that's what it looked like, they gave it to him. Because I know what you're saying. They were both pulling on each other. You could say
Hmm.
hook here, pull shirt here. But at the end of the day, the ball was coming towards Memo Martinez, and he was pulled down in the area. And I think, yeah, PK.
And who was it? Rashford was said, or Pogba said in an interview once that if you get touched in the area, they're gonna call it. So why not fall, right? So
Mhm.
I blame the defender because he falls into that trap from the forward.
Yeah, no, yeah, and there's been players that made a living off that. Cotemo was one of those.
Robin,
Like,
Uh,
another one.
and
No,
and
but
if you
yeah,
guys
like,
want to know where Juby lives, just let me know. I'm no part of
hey,
that. I'm no
take it
part of that
easy, John.
I'm no part of that conversation.
don't worry, don't worry. My vecinos are the neighborhood watch. We're good.
Top notch, right? Yeah. So moving into that, Tigres versus Tijuana. Tigres hosting Tijuana en el Volcán. Un golazo de Luis Quiñones. Right? That's his name, Luis Quiñones.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
another great game from him, man. I know. We had our differences on the game he played against Bayern. Oh,
He
and let's
didn't
not
play
forget
well. He didn't play well, Juvie.
Uh,
they.
uh,
Well, I mean, like, I feel like the difference between this game and and they played in the middle of the week too against Cruz Azul. Let's not forget that.
Mhm. And they're
yeah,
gonna
and
play again pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I think they're the only team that has two games in this Jornada.
yeah,
who did it? Cruz Azul, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
They lost to Cruz Azul. If
Oh yeah, they lost
I'm
to
not
Cruz Azul last week.
mistaken, 2-0, something like that.
Yeah, that's when Salcedo was a little salty, right?
I don't know if he was salty, but I don't watch the extracurricular activities of the league. I just watch the games.
Como
Well,
lo protege
he
lo
did
protege el
say
titán.
something. Did say something. He said something that was true, but yeah.
Yeah, and Nicolas Nicolas Lopez with 2 goals in the game, man. Um,
Yeah.
the guy's doing good.
El
Tijuana
Diente.
Tijuana. Can't say, man. Away from home, it's like always a different team. You know, they get 2 goals at the end of the game. Towards the end of the game, Edgar Lopez y David Barbona in extra time. So
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean,
it makes it look better than it was because it
yeah,
wasn't close for the
it was
entire game.
yeah,
no, it was
no,
pretty much all Tigres. You know, the first goal que mete Cholos se la mueve Reyes a Nahuel. You know, so that kind of changes up a little bit, and then the second goal, you know, this would be my question. So Marcel comes in,
Marcel
uh,
Ruiz.
Fabian. You know, I like that little parejita that they make. So the
Hmm.
second goal is a nice little pass from Marcel to Fabian. Fabian puts in the center. You know, ¿cómo se llama? Barbona makes it. A couple plays before that, Fabian was was doing the same thing he always does. He makes those great plays, you know, blah blah blah, takes it up, doesn't finish. So my question is, if you see something good with Marcel and Fabian, why don't you uh
Keep
play
going with it.
Marcel? Uh-huh. Because I feel like up until that point, you know, Cholos wasn't really doing much until you see that little parejita form. And I like what I saw, you know, because I feel like I know, like Rafa said, the game looks completely different on the scoreboard than it does when you watch it.
Mhm.
But I just like what I saw between those two guys. You know, I feel like those two guys together can change it up a bit
For Cholos.
for ¿cómo se llama? Yeah,
Well, I think at this point, the lineup that they had brought out the game before that and a few games before that had been paying off dividends for them. So I know what you're saying. They look decent, but a multitude of factors could come into that. Tigres sitting back after being up 3-0, or just Tigres in general just stepping off the gas. And Tijuana, those players are just trying to prove a point. So maybe in the future, but up to that point, I don't think Marcel hadn't seen the field in a good minute
Yeah, man,
already.
and it sucks, man, because that guy he's a very good talent, and for him to sit away in the bench, I don't think it's right. I think that, with all honesty, you got the Prem debuting 17-year-olds. Why can't we put a 19-year-old to show us what he can do? Let him to make mistakes, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's unfortunate that Marcel doesn't get that much playing time this season. We know that he saw a lot of playing time with Querétaro. That's where um that's where well most of us discovered him. I know Juby's been following him since he was like 3. So
Well, to be fair, Victor Guzman is playing, and he's a center back who's 18.
yeah, no, yeah, and that's true. But this is a guy that could potentially be. Oh, además es convocado in the Olympic team, you know?
Who, Guzman?
yeah.
Yeah, no. Marcel Ruiz.
Yeah.
So, you know, but on to bigger and better games. Pachuca,
I don't know about better, but
Better.
bigger ones.
well, we know how Tuca plays, right?
Yeah.
So, on to Pachuca versus Chivas in Pachuca, right? In el Estadio Hidalgo. Um,
Mhm.
Rafa, if you want to lead this one, take the floor.
I think this Pachuca team they've been suffering a lot. They're last in the table, and before this game they only had 2 points.
Hmm.
Some games have been decent. They just haven't been able to score. I think they had 2 goals before this as well. In general, nah, maybe 2, whatever. I think Chivas, uh, it's just trouble, man. You know, they just don't
Underperforming.
generate. they don't generate, to get Macias the ball. I see Macias running all over the field and trying to get his teammates involved, dribbling past here and there, cleaning the area and giving it out to the wings, and then they can't penetrate.
Yeah, yeah, and Chivas,
Alexis looked tired, Angulo as well.
yeah, Alexis, you know, like you said, looked tired. One thing that I pointed out and you corrected me yesterday was that how come they didn't put him in the camp position? And you said they did, and he looked lost. Angulo looked lost, and it's not like these players haven't played. So if they look lost out of the three players in behind Macias, which is Vega, Angulo, and Conejito, why not put Conejito where we all know that Conejito can play in the camp position, right? The problem that I have with Conejito right now is that he's not giving the ball to Macias when Macias is open. Maybe he doesn't see what we're seeing on the TV, but at the same time, man, you're a veteran in this team. You're a leader in this team, right? These young players are looking up to you because you helped take this team to the promised land, and yet you can't put a pass to your forward to drill it in. I have a big problem with that.
I
Well,
think I'll start with Brizuela. He played well. And, he kept getting open and kept creating space for himself and dribbling past players. But that last touch, that last little like, hesitation to get loose again and get a nice pass, like you said, to square it, he couldn't
Yeah,
find it. It always ends with like trying to slam across through a player or slam, this huge looping cross over the top to God knows who, to the smallest guy on the other side of the field. It's
yeah,
just I think the only one that we actually got was Alexis Vega. And if you don't see the game, you could argue, oh, Vega played all right. Did you see that header he missed? He could have made that, but
yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
easy,
That's
easy.
it. You know,
yeah. And no, y
Yeah,
deja de eso. The midfield, in the first half, they look good. They look like they were putting 1-2 passes very well. Molina and Lalo Torres. Molina scores a goal, right? And how many times has the captain put the ball in the back of the net to put us ahead or to tie a game? And that's JJ's job. I'm not blaming JJ because like you said, JJ se está porteando el alma para agarrar un balón to motivate these players. But you have a Mayorga that makes great runs from the left back, and como dices, he gets to the promised line and he can't do nothing with it. Se atora, or he doesn't see his vision is not there where other players will see, JJ open or Alexis open, and that's my problem, right? Um, the guy that we've criticized a little bit the most, Rafa. I know me and you have talked. Jury. I don't know his thoughts on that, but Chapito played okay,
yeah.
right? And we can bash on them all we want, but we called for this defense, and at the
hmm
same time, Briseño is yelling at his players, Mears is yelling at his players, and we can't generate nothing, man. Like jugamos el primer tiempo bien y el segundo tiempo is like we we won. Let's just sit back. That's how I feel. Maybe I'm wrong, right?
I
It's
think
my,
I
Well, I mean,
I think the first half wasn't that bad. I think,
yeah,
like
it
you said,
wasn't.
it wasn't really good, but they got down, they got some shots, and they could have put away
mhm.
two. But yeah, the second half it was I think it was just attitude. I don't know about sitting back, but attitude for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a combination of things. So I'm with you on the Brizuela one, but I don't think that it's that he can't finish or he can't make that pass. I feel like it's a little bit of more of a he doesn't want to. I don't know if you guys remember a couple seasons ago. I might be wrong that we had a similar issue with Brizuela, just trying to do too much, and it ended costing him a couple games in the bench. I don't know if you
Mm.
guys remember that. It might be
What
before
then?
Tena got there.
No, what then? When
Was
Tena
it
first
with
got
Tena?
there, when Tena got there, and I agree with you. I don't know. You know what? It's not that he doesn't want to make the pass. It's I think that in his head the play is playing out some other way, and like you said, he's trying to do too much.
Yeah, like it's simple, you know, like if we break it down, like it should be simple for him, you know, like he doesn't have to do much, you know, all he has to do is just enough. And you know that's why you have a guy like Macias there who we know he could score because we've seen it this season that you know once he gets the opportunity, he does score. And then number two is like I don't see a reason why Macias has to go back there and help defend. You know, like
Yeah.
there should be there were some
But
in some
the,
place.
you're right. There's no reason why he should be doing that, but he
Yeah,
has to do that because he's trying to light a fire under some of these players.
yeah, but
You
that like
So how do you
go ahead.
motivate? How do you motivate a team in the field,
You
Oh
show
yeah,
them
like I
with
understand.
your attitude.
right?
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
Macias
no,
doesn't,
it's true.
if JJ doesn't do this, man, um, I don't know. You know, hacen los cambios, viene Antuna y viene Nene Beltrán, and you know there were signs of life. There was signs of life, but is it a little too late, Rafa?
I just
What?
think the cambios don't make sense. Like one of them does because Antuna's a winger and you need someone to get down that flank. But the
So
Beltran one, it's like putting in three defensive mids and you're trying to
yeah,
get one to play attacking mid.
yeah,
How? Unfortunately, Beltran can't play attacking mid, and the other two are barely defensive mids. You know, they're
right.
practically center backs out of position. So trying to get some generation out of there, it's just you can do it.
And you know what? Props to Pachuca because they came back to the game.
Oh
Right,
yeah.
the first half they were out of it. You know, we were
Uh,
dominated. We were getting to the area. Cayó el gol de cabeza, which was a beautiful goal, right? Molina found space and he headers it in, and Utari he can't do nothing. But for a team that's dominating, right, with a team with a lot of talent, like you look at, and you know, shout out to Sasha Guti. He says these are the best Mexican players that are out there. Who else would you bring in right now? Right,
no,
we have.
there's a few that are better, but they're too expensive.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. But Antuna, anywhere else, he's a starter. Vega in Toluca, he was a starter. Angulo in the Necaxa and Tijuana, he didn't have a real chance. But these are very good, talented players. Brizuela, a starter in any other team. JJ, believe me, anybody in the Liga MX would want JJ. That front line, it's a beast of a line, man. 'Cause they're
Well,
young. They're
well, first
young.
off, I think first off, before we move on, I think Luis Chavez came in second half and did a great job, lighting a fire under Pachuca's ass. And I think that's what got them the 1-1, and then maybe it could have been a 2-1, because Quiroga out of nowhere started headering the ball. But you're right, man. These players up top, they're the best players, at least
That
going
we can
forward.
bring in.
Yeah, and that they could bring in that, and they're young. They're like the U23 level. They're like the guys that are going to uh, Olympic squad. Uh, I think now, like I said last week or before that, it's a chemistry issue because like we said about Brizuela, he can't pick out a pass, but Macias can't move everywhere. There should be a second, player coming out from,
From
something
behind.
like yeah, like Calderon does, where he
Yeah,
comes and headers the ball, whatever. I'm not saying it should be him or another player, but someone needs to do it.
yeah.
And
Well, I
and
mean,
those are things you work
it
on
should
in
be
the training ground.
it should be Vega. You know, in all
Yeah,
honesty,
yeah.
he would be the next best attacker,
Correct.
scorer. That
Correct.
you know.
And they happened
Correct.
last week with Brizuela hooking up with Angulo for the first goal.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
And it's something where we're like, finally get a fucking pass on the floor.
yeah,
And
and then
that's something that they should do and work on. I don't know.
yeah,
So
and then one thing I want to touch on before John gets to what he got to say is John mentioned the Mayorga and Chapito. Like, so in my eyes, I know we've had this conversation multiple times before. In my eyes, you it's a luxury to have your left back, right back, whatever you want to call them, right wing back, whatever they are, to go up there and help out. Like they shouldn't have to. Like in my eyes, like they do their job, cool. Like whatever you get from them on the offensive side, that's a bonus.
I get that, but in this day and age, your backs are the ones that are helping attack, man. That makes your attacking game more dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? What where's the Chapito that we saw against Leon? This is
I
the
I
mean,
same
mean,
squad.
I don't
This
think
is the
I
same
don't think
squad.
I don't think he played that well that game. Like I said the other time, I mean, he made a badass goal, but besides that,
mhm.
it's just everybody else, man. It's the attacking
Well,
players.
yeah. Well,
I
Everyone from
yeah,
midfield
yeah,
up.
yeah,
That,
and I think that's the issue. Like the reason why, like, so this is the reason why I'm saying that, like, that it should be you should be considering it like a luxury for your left back, right back to go up. And the reason why I don't think it's working out as much is because that wing is getting clogged up.
hmm
Uh, so when you have a guy like Brizuela, who, if we see him play like he's supposed to play, that opens up the wing for Chapito.
correct.
So when Brizuela is like clogging it up, like I know it might not make sense, but like clogging it up a bit, it makes it a little more difficult for Chapito to go up. But like I said, I know the game has changed, but in my eyes, like those guys going up, you should consider that a bonus. Like it shouldn't be something that they need to do.
yeah, I know what you mean, but even then, like I'll go back to this. Like I don't think that side played bad at all. They did what they had to. The crosses could have been a lot better. But
Hmm.
you see a couple plays before they took out Vega and Angulo, they'd give them the ball and they wouldn't decide whether they'd want to dribble, whether they'd want to pick out a pass. I swear I saw Angulo do like this taconazo where it went to nobody like three
Yeah,
times.
yeah, in the
And you're
middle.
like, dude, get the ball under your feet, look up and pass it.
And
Some danger.
and props to Gudinho. And we made this last segment just about Chivas. Pachuca is the second thought, right? But props to Gudinho because in the first half he stopped un centro que metieron de cabeza, if I'm not mistaken, that he stopped on the right side, and then he stopped a couple other ones, but the biggest one was the PK.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The I'm not mistaken, it was the La Rosa Juby who
yeah,
kicked it,
yeah.
right? And pick that guy up in FIFA, man. That he slowly grows, but he does
Hmm.
well. But besides the point, Gudinho kept us in the game at points. Was it a mistake that que le metieron el gol? I think it was. Because right away I go Gudinho and I just put that emoji with the hand in the face. We can't make mistakes like this, man. We're the biggest team in Mexico, and we're struggling against a
Another
struggling
struggling.
Pachuca,
I think the
right?
the the goal, yeah, he could have reacted faster, but so could have everybody else that was around there. So everybody has a little bit of blame there. As far as the PK, great save.
Yeah.
Was he off the
Oh yeah,
line?
man.
Was he off the line? Yeah, he was. So we can't defend him on that part, but I love a
Hey,
save.
I gotta take a quote from a certain philosopher. It's a gray area.
Well, that one's a little more difficult because
Yeah.
the rule is you're not supposed to come off the
No,
line,
I
but
understand the rule,
when
but
does the
it's a
ref call it?
but it's a gray area.
It's just
But
John's area is gray here.
yeah.
Well,
So
that one's pretty simple. That one's pretty simple.
Oh
You
no,
don't come off the
no, listen,
you
Julie.
don't you don't
Before you
no
get
no.
technical, let me before we finish out this segment and we go into the European players. I hope you're ready because you're reading them off. Um, is Vucetich time up? Is Vucetich's time up with Chivas right now?
No,
go ahead, Joey.
no.
No,
I say no. Uh, like I'm a big believer on uh, like I don't like how the Mexican league just as soon as you start showing a few bad performances, you get rid of a guy.
You get rid of the project.
Yeah, like I feel like you know there's still something there. There's little kinks that definitely do need to be worked out. There's a lot of stuff that I would like to see different. Like maybe try throwing in there Chino Huerta. You know, uh, do little things here and there. But I think it's just changing it up at this point. To me, it just doesn't seem like a smart choice. Like let's play out
But
the season and see how it goes.
we were all yelling to switch it up, and he did switch it up, bringing in Mayorga and Poyito Briseño, which I think Briseño is doing a fabulous job, man. A great job in the back line.
Yeah,
Um,
but he did it like a game after or actually no, he did it the game that they messed up. So he had practice with Briseño and Mayorga, and he ended up opting out for his normal people, Sepulveda and Ponce. I think that game they end up messing up, and he changes both of them,
Yeah.
and then that's when we start seeing the Mayorga Briseño defense, which has been not great. Don't get me wrong, but has it been better than before?
yes,
Sure, sure,
absolutely,
sure.
I,
So now,
I
absolutely.
yeah. I was
It,
just
it's
gonna say, as far as Vucetich, uh, I think I'm agree with Juvie, although I don't like it. Like, no, it's not the right time. I think you gotta give him the whole season. Because yeah, I hate like Juvie. You shouldn't just cut him just because. You should ride it out. But his ass is like it's about to roll. Like if he doesn't make Liguilla or loses in the first round, that's it. Because this team it doesn't look right, and it's already like Danny says, give them five games to determine where they're gonna end up, and this is seven, and it doesn't look good.
yeah, but
we're
but but I mean, like, so I know, like we want to see wins. They've lost to what? Uh, like they've drawn more than they won and lost, right?
Hmm.
So
what's your point?
my point is, like, to me, what Teach has done buys him enough to continue, and I feel like
How
he's
long?
just like
How long,
to
Juvie?
the end of the season.
I agree.
Depending on what he does, the end of the season, if he doesn't get Liguilla, yeah, if he gets into Liguilla and shows a good showing, it gives him buys him another season. So,
That's the
but I
other thing
feel,
I was gonna say. Like he can stay because who else are you gonna get? There's nobody else out there.
Alonso.
It's another one of those like, hey, let's see if it fits. Because he got fired from wherever he was in the MLS.
Miami.
Miami.
So it's
But
just
that's
it's not like someone proven that's done something remarkable.
that's
Well,
because that's because they were waiting for Neville. That this is Beckham's people. Like, yeah, obviously, I'm not saying he's giving his friends a job, but he knows
he
Neville,
is.
and he knows Neville, and it's going to be a different style of play. So, you know, we'll see. We have next week we have Pumas versus Chivas, and I think that's going to determine if Vucetich is going to get on the hot seat or not.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because
like I said, I feel like, to me, they just need to tweak one or two things here and there, and
Hmm.
and I feel like we're gonna start seeing results, But I
Well,
just
look,
I
sorry to interrupt you, Julie, but you have Pumas next week. The week
mhm.
after, va a ser doble jornada, and you have Querétaro and Mazatlán. After that, on the 14th, we have the Clásico.
Yeah,
So the last time we went into a Clásico with a coach that came in literally hours before or a day before, we lost it, right?
yeah,
mm,
That team at Guapa, they're ready for us, man, because they haven't forgot what Chicote did to them. So
yeah,
best believe that they're fighting for 3 points, and we're going to be fighting for 3 points, and it's going to be a dogfight out there, man.
yeah.
yeah,
And I feel like, even though, I don't want to see what's the teach go. Like I said, end of the season, then we'll decide. But I feel like if the performances don't get better, and then that Clásico does not end up being in the proper result that we would like to see it.
There's only one result that we're trying to see. There's no proper
Yeah, and I feel like that's gonna make the decision easier for Pelais.
unless you're going for a tie.
No, 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 never. Like, you never go for
Ay,
a tie.
aquí
You
no.
always, No, no, you always go for the win. But I'm just saying,
Aquí sí.
no, no, I always go for the win, no matter what. You always go for the win. I don't care if it's a friendly. You go for the win.
Órale, pues. All right, man. That ends week seven, Liga MX. And real quick before we let you guys go, I'll give you guys the uh abroad players in Europe. So real quick, Wolverhampton beat Leeds United. Obviously, Raul Jimenez is still not playing due to his head injury. But if I'm not mistaken, Wolverhampton started playing, posting up pictures of Raul Jimenez being in training, which is good, man. Um, other in Serie A, Atalanta beat Napoli 4-2 with Chucky Lozano still being out. He will not be playing in the next game against Granada in Europa League. Liga Nos, Boavista, Alejandro Gomez did not play. Uh, yesterday, Porto beat, let me, Maritimo, 2-1 with Corona coming out in the 91st minute in the 2-1 win for Porto. Moving on to the Dutch league, PSV, Eric Gutierrez in the victory over Vitesse played 45 minutes where, I was watching the game and Eric Gutierrez got a yellow card, and I think that's why he didn't play the second half, just because the manager didn't want to go with didn't want to risk it. Ajax, Edson Alvarez played the full game in the 2-0 victory for against Sparta. Moving on to the Jupiler League, Jank Artiaga played the full game in the 2-1 nothing in the 2-1 loss against Bierstadt. Oh, that's a pretty tough. Sulte 3-2 win over Standard League, man. Gobea came out in the 91st minute. 3-2 Standard League, man. Memo Ochoa played there. Andres Guardado in the 1-0. Moving on to the league, Andres Guardado in the 1-0 win over Getafe played 79 minutes. Carvalho came in for him in the 79th. Hector Herrera did not see the field once again. I think this is the last week where he's quarantined, due to COVID. Hopefully he's all right. Didn't say nothing that he was showing symptoms. Diego Lainez, I'm sorry, I skipped Diego Lainez. Diego Lainez stayed in the bench, but fue convocado. And Celta de Vigo, man. Juby, any thoughts on your boy Nestor Araujo out there?
Like
Over the
thoughts
over
as
the
in what?
over the week, there was an interview. I know I saw it on social media. I could be wrong. He says he's not ready to come back to Mexico, man. He wants to finish out his contract with Celta. Um, do you see him in other leagues? Both of you, do you guys see him in a different league, like the Serie A or maybe even the Prem?
I honestly I like where he's at. Like I know for a fact I've stated this before. Like even I know I'm wrong for saying this, but I think Celta de Vigo is built for the Mexican player, just like
Mm-hmm.
certain other teams are. Premier
Yeah.
League. Do I think he could play well in there? Yes. Would I see him playing there? Not the way the history of the Mexican player. Other than Jimenez recently probably changed a lot of the views
Yeah.
for what I had, but I think at this moment, Premier League would be he would lose a lot based on just the past history of the Mexican players. Italy, I think he'll do a good job in Italy. If we go to some of the lower teams, none of the Lazios, even though it would be nice to see him, Lazio, Juve, and all that stuff, but I think he'll do better in a Sassuolo, you know, type scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
Benedetto, estamos.
Yeah. And you know what? My opinion, Celta de Vigo is fighting for Europa League. So props to him because he's one of the most consistent players out there right now. So yeah, other than that, guys, thank you for listening. Shout out to JAB27 for winning the Chivas jersey. Uh, he already DM me, send me the address to ship it to him. You can catch us on PDC Podcast MX on Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, wherever you can hear us. Subscribe on YouTube, like, and leave a comment. Say goodnight, guys.
Later.
Good night.